Am I the asshole if I ate and swallowed a message from God on a tram? I'm a 36-year-old female traveling for work this week and had a few hours layover in AITA airport. I'm tired. I've been traveling since very early this morning and have been on and off engrossed in a book during times of inaction to keep my anxiety from peaking. I just got off the plane and had made my way to the tram to get to the next concourse. I noticed the lady who had been seated with me on the prior flight was also following me to the tram for transfer. It's not uncommon. Many people are heading to the same relative locations or at least on the same train. As I boarded the tram train to get to my connecting area, I headed to a corner and reopened my book. It's a simple, non-heavily brainy book and part of a well-known series and does have some explicit schmutty sections. Whatever. It's an easy read, doesn't involve a lot of cognition to follow, and entertaining. The lady who was next to me on my flight ended up next to me on the sparsely occupied train and did a loud ahem. I'm not one to openly engage in other people's lives and ignored it. She turned her head to look right at me and said, "Are you really ignoring the light?" I genuinely had no clue what she was referring to. It was really early morning, took a reday, and I genuinely thought she meant the rising sun. I glanced out and said something like, "Is kinda cloudy, so I didn't notice." I don't fully recall. She stared really intently and grabbed a piece of paper out of her handbag to hand me. This was a small, little more than fortune cookie-sized paper. It had a Bible passage on it, something about God and the light without darkness. I do remember the passage was from the book of John. She said something about she felt called to guide me out of the sinful darkness when she saw what I was reading on the flight, and instead of exiting the airport to go home, she knew she was meant to follow me to my next area to show me the light. I grew up in the South on Bible Belt of NC, and I felt all the hypocrisy that organized religion was promoting and had some trauma from it. I'm not proud to say this triggered a little and reacted on the trigger. I grabbed that stupid slip of paper and wadded it up and shoved it in mouth. I started chewing. I looked this lady in the eye and chewed and swallowed, and then said her bullshit was delicious. She immediately called me a heathen, said I wasn't capable of grace, and she wished she hadn't wasted her sacred message on the unworthy. She said she knew what kind of floozy I was by the filth I was reading. I just said I'm glad she enjoyed it as well and provided the name and author before exiting the train at the next concourse, even though it wasn't the one I needed. She didn't follow, but called me an unhinged jerk before scooting away. I thought about it and felt a little bad about my immaturity and could have just accepted the paper and ignored her. I know this is a very religious city, so am I the unhinged jerk a-hole?